Hi. So it's been what, 3 years since I've uploaded anything? Sorry. It has been a very long 3 years, and I have had many a character development, if you will, since then. Went through 2 relationships, graduated high school, started college, and is about to graduate college, hopefully next summer. Uh, got my first apartment, officially got diagnosed with PTSD, whole bunch of fun stuff. Yippee ki yay. Just quick run through of my life over the last couple of years. I'm doing better. I've been essentially in a horrific art block rut for, since I've posted the last video. But I wanted to I wanted to do um, work towards getting out of that rut and doing art again just because it's always been a passion of mine, and I've not done anything in 3 years that was just like art for myself, that wasn't like a gift for someone. And I thought, what better way to get out of that rut than to combine my hobby with my career goals. So I don't think I've talked about it. I might have made references to it on my TikTok, but I am an animal science major. I will be set to graduate next spring. I worked a really great internship with a rehabilitation center with their education department. Great time, loved that. Um, it's also part of the reason I'm going to the doctor to see if I have nerve damage. Fun. But doing that and getting to see kind of the educational side, the animal care side, being able to see the kinds of opportunities I have in the field, I thought, why not? I want to get back into art, right? I knew I wanted to get back into art. And so why not combine that with the educational skills that I learned at my internship? And so what I'm starting, and I can't promise how consistent this will be. I'm going to try and get these out maybe weekly, maybe I'll just do it on the weekends. I can't promise because college started. This is the first week. I'm recording this at 2 in the morning instead of sleeping for my Friday class. I'm going to try and get these out semi regularly. And I just I'm going to draw a bird because I love birds. When I graduate, I want to specifically work with birds. Most people talk about working with prey birds. I'm okay with any. Prey birds are the one I would probably prefer the most, but throw me with any birds, I'll be happy. I absolutely adore birds. And so, what I wanted to do was start a series where I'm going to draw these birds and give facts about them. I think birds are very interesting. They're my favorite, just my favorite kind of animal, my favorite classification. And I thought it would be a fun way to get back into art, and also, it's a cool opportunity to educate people. It's a unique thing I have where I can draw and have that scientific background and knowledge. I am not an expert whatsoever in any of the animals I'm talking about. I'm currently an undergraduate student, so if any of the information is false, I apologize. I will do my best to correct it if there is anything false. All the information I'm getting is from actual research I've done on the birds from credible sites. I just love watching bird videos, so I have a lot of bird facts stored. So a lot of the stuff I have like written down is in my notes is just refreshers. Sorry for the long intro. I just wanted to kind of do a quick explanation of this before I got into it and kind of talk about where I've been. So the first bird we're doing today, like you guys have seen on screen, is a shoebill stork. Now I'm sure you guys have seen this one in memes. It's a very popular bird. I'll put the GIF that everybody talks about on screen right now. And it is one of those birds that knows it used to be a dinosaur. there's some birds where like they can't tell, but this one knows. This one knows. This one is definitely one of my favorites. Beautiful bird, very interesting, metal as fuck. Like this bird doesn't play around. So just basic facts first, then we'll get into the more fun stuff. So the scientific name is, I'm not gonna say this right, it's on the screen, Balaeniceps rex. The other names for the bird, based off of the shape of the bill, are whalebill, whale-headed stork, and these are all based off of the very broad beak they have. As I'm talking, I'll probably put other images on the screen and stuff, along with the references I have for the art. But as you guys can see on what's here right now, they have a very broad beak that is very unique compared to other birds. For a very long time, they were classified as with storks, not as storks, with storks in the order Siconiformes. Definitely didn't say that one right either, but here's on screen. But the DNA actually placed it with pelicans, so they're related to pelicans in the order pelicans and herons in the order again on the screen, Pelecaniformes, which I probably said that one more correct. And out of all the birds in that order, the hammercope is its closest relative. Again, picture on screen. I'm not great at figuring out how to say things. I was that kid that thought colonel was pronounced colonel for a very long time, so I'm not an expert on any of this, but I'm doing my best. It was officially scientifically classified in the 19th century. It had been discovered before. It was actually shown in Egyptian hieroglyphs. There were images of these shoebill storks, but it was not officially scientifically classified and named until the 19th century. They average 3.5 feet to 5 feet tall, with the males being larger, and they have an average wingspan of 7.7 feet. Now, for context, I'm 5'4", so I'm just could be taller than one. That's taller than my boyfriend, who's 6'4". So these things are tall. Their wings are longer than people are taller, unless it's like, you know, someone like Shaq. Shaq might be taller. I don't know his height off the top of my head. And a lot of people don't know this, but bird bones are hollow. It's what helps with keep their weight down. A lot of our weight is bones. We have very dense bones as humans, as mammals, compared to avians, because the hollow bones help them to fly, help them to get off of the ground. And so on average, the storks weigh about 11 to 12 pounds, with males being, once again, a little bit heavier. Now, these birds have a long lifespan. They live about 35 years, so not as long as our parrots, but, you know, longer than a lot of duck species. And their foot is comparable in size to human feet at 7 inches long. I had trouble figuring out how to draw their feet, because that's very interesting toes, but they get to about 7 inches. Just a little fun fact, they are classified as vulnerable. Now, they, like on average, even when not classified as vulnerable, they would have had smaller numbers because they are a very specialized species, which we'll get into after. But there's an estimated 33,000 to 53,000 left in the wild. So that's still not a great number, but they're very specialized and localized, so they're not going to have, you know, nearly as large of a population as something like, you know, your robins or your canaries. They are a nocturnal species, and they live in marshes and swamplands. They prefer poorly oxygenated water, because that's the water where you're going to have those fish come up more often to get air. And so they are ambush predators. So they sit there and they wait for their prey to come to them, and that's when they strike and they get the prey. So being in these poorly oxygenated waters makes them more successful hunters, because they don't have to move to find food as much. They have a very low flapping speed compared to other birds, which means they don't fly a lot. There's really not a huge need for them to fly, again, as ambush predators and as waterfowl. Not waterfowl. It's probably not the right word, but as a water-based species, it's not like a duck that has to migrate or anything. They kind of stay in the one spot. They eat aquatic mammals like fish, eels, baby crocodiles, amphibians, and just like their cousins, the pelicans, they kind of eat whatever will fit in their mouth. While looking up images for references for drawing, I did see pictures of them eating like monkeys or other small mammals, ones that like I can't identify just off the top of my head. I won't be putting any of those pictures up, but they have been known to eat more than just aquatic animals. With the sharp end of the beak, they will use that to behead their prey before swallowing it whole. They also tend to be passive to humans just because, I mean, they're solitary animals, but they aren't very aggressive, except for if you're their sibling, but we'll get into that in a second. They're not very aggressive even during breeding season. The mated pair will hunt on two different ends of the territory before meeting back up for parenting, but they aren't super aggressive, especially towards humans. Towards each other they can be, but other species they're not as violent towards. They also always hatch 2 eggs, but the second one that hatches is left to die. I say left to die. The parent will feed the first one. It is meant to be the strongest. It is the one that they are putting all of their energy and time into. The wild is, when you're living out in the wild, you have to think about what will push your genes on. What should you devote your limited energy on to survival of your genes? That's the goal. And so, unfortunately, there's lots of species that do this kind of thing. They're not people. They don't have those same morals or feelings. Thank you, cat. Sorry, my cat just jumped on something. As we do, and that's perfectly fine. They're animals. They're not us. So they care for their young differently. They view their young differently. And so for them, that second baby is just backup. And oftentimes, the sibling will actually be the one to kill the baby. I've seen videos of the parent just picking it up and then shaking it until its neck breaks, but I've also heard of the older chick, once it gets big enough, just attacking it and killing it. These birds, they don't mess around. Their goal is survival, and by God, are they going to survive. That's kind of all. No, that's not it. They have some of the coolest vocalizations I have heard. I'll insert a video here. But like that sound is so cool. It is such a unique vocalization. I am obsessed with these birds. They're just babies. All birds are actually just little baby guys. I adore them so much. So I think that's everything I have to say about Shoebill Storks, unless you want me to just ramble about how much I love them, which I don't think you want a 2-hour video of that. But in the future, I want to do this with more birds. If anyone has any suggestions, a bird you'd want to see me draw. I know the drawing's kind of rough, but again, it's been 3 years. I'm trying to get back into it. Another thing is that I have a really cool research project that I might get to do. Can't talk about it yet because I want to see what the university is going to let me do first before I go around publicizing it, but I'm really excited for that, and as soon as I have approval, I'm going to let you guys know because I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited to get more hands-on work with birds. But thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's been a while. I know this video is kind of rough. I haven't recorded a video in a while, and so I'm kind of nervous about the voiceover part, if you could tell. But we'll see how this goes. Thank you guys for coming on this journey with me.